video, we'll explore how to use a known article, either one that's provided as a course reading, perhaps you found it by searching a database, or it was one that was cited by another one of your sources. And we'll use this to find more research on your topic. Here, we'll start with a course reading provided by your professor. As you read through the article, you'll want to pick out key terms the authors use. In this case, I'm interested in the connection between housing instability and poor health, and the possible ways to mitigate those health risks suggested within the scholarly literature. As you read through the article, you'll want to take note of the ways in which your scholars talk about each of the unique concepts you're interested in. Eventually, we'll have a list of terms that scholars might use for each of these unique concepts. So I'm interested in two: housing instability and health. For each unique concept, you'll want to list the ways that your authors talk about each. In this case, I've noted all the ways that the authors talk about housing instability in yellow. They discuss it more broadly using housing instability, or more narrowly in reference to a particular kind of instability, such as homelessness, or being behind on rent or mortgage payments, foreclosure, moving frequently, doubling up, and the like. In blue, the authors talk more broadly about health or well-being, physical health or mental health, and then the authors talk about it more narrowly, for instance, using terms for a particular kind of health issue like anxiety, cardiovascular disease, depression, and the like. So you'll see those throughout the article. As you develop the list of terms for each unique concept, you'll think about other ways that scholars might use it, even if it's not listed in this particular article. These might come from other readings, class discussions, informal interviews with practicing experts, and the like. And then once you've identified these as many possible search terms as you can, it's time to start trying those within library databases. River Campus Library subscribes to hundreds of resources. So rather than sort through a long list, you can see the databases that are recommended for a particular discipline by looking at the library research guides. To see those, visit the main page of the library and select Research Guides and Tools. You'll see a whole list of all the research guides by subject. We'll scroll down to political science. And once here, you'll see the main subject guide, as well as any course-specific guides that have been created for particular classes. In this case, we'll actually select the main political science guide so that you can see all the recommended resources for this particular discipline. For the assignment that you guys are working on, I recommend two databases, Hein Online, and down here in multidisciplinary databases, Google Scholar. In Hein, you can search core US journals by selecting it from this list here. Core US Journals indexes hundreds of law reviews and law-related journals. So try some of your brainstorm search terms, and you can do this in two ways. You can use this main search box here, or you can click on advanced search. So let's use this one first. And we can search for some of our search terms, and for each unique concept, we'll separate those with the parentheses. There's my first set of terms for that particular concept. And I also want a second set of unique concepts dealing with health. So let me grab those. And those will also be set off by its own set of parentheses. And parenthesis. And then we can search. Once you find a list, the results list that looks good, you'll want to scroll through these to see which of those are most useful and relevant for your research topic. You'll see two different kinds of results in this list. Those that have the full text indexed in Hein Online, for instance, this one, and you'll see that you can actually click on the title to read it in text. You can click on this link to go right to the page where a lot of these are listed, a lot of your search terms show up, or you can download the full PDF and read it and annotate it in something like Acrobat Reader. The other thing that you might see are these noted in pink. This indicates that the database is aware that this article exists, but the full text is not available within this particular database. To access the full text of that type of article, you click on this open URL link, and this will actually look in all of our library databases to see if we have access to it in any of them. And if we do, it'll give you the list of those. So we actually have this article listed in a number of library databases. So if we click on one of these, we can access the full text and then read and download that article from there. And we won't wait for that to actually download that full text. So as we scroll through here and we're looking at the articles that we might want to select for a closer read for our particular research assignment, we'll want to pay particular attention to those that pop out at us. So don't read the full text of each article. Skim the titles, skim through the particular topics to see how often this might have listed your search terms. For instance, my search terms show up 17 times in this article. And then scan through to see if there are things that pop out to you. This article here really popped out to me because I'm looking for ways to mitigate those risks. And so I saw that this one talks about the emergence of medical legal partnerships that's brought legal expertise into the healthcare setting. For instance, starting right away when they show up at the medical facility, to talk about ways that they might get the landlord to remove mold that would otherwise provoke multiple emergency room visits. I'd like to read this article closer to see if they talk about how that is actually done in some areas of the country, and perhaps we can make suggestions for our community partners. All right, the other way to search Hein online is to go to the advanced search. And here, it's thinking about it. Oh, and here you can actually search the full text for your unique concepts, and each unique concept would have its own line. So I want to search the full text for health, well-being, and all those similar terms. And for housing, instability, being behind on rent, mortgage, all of those concepts that are sort of associated with that unique idea on this line. Each unique concept has its own line, and it's connected by that and function here. Note that this resembles closely the way we set up our search terms. That was done intentionally so that each concept could be transferred to that advanced search easily. All right, let's go back to our research guide and talk about the way we would search for these in Google Scholar. So here, we'll need to set off our unique concepts with parentheses as we did earlier. We'll search for housing and its concepts. And then we'll also search for health and all of its different forms. Note that I don't have to use and here. It's automatically assumed by Google Scholar. So we'll just set these off by parentheses. Each unique concept is set off by parentheses, and we'll search that. As you scroll through the results list here, select the resources that most closely relate to the topic that you're looking for. In addition to locating the full text, either from the vendor, the publisher, or from clicking on this full text at UR. I actually recommend this link, since if you click the vendor and they ask for you to pay for the article, you won't have a mechanism built in to try to request that through interlibrary loan. Whereas if you click this link, you will. And then the library will pay for any charges associated with obtaining that item rather than having you pay for that item yourself. In addition to grabbing the full text, you might also want to use this quotes icon. If you click that, you can actually get the citation, copy the citation for the citation style that you might be using for your project. So you can copy that and then paste that into whichever note-taking system you have so that you'll have it when you want to cite it later within your research project.